Why do I sit like this all the time? Why? It makes me look like I'm about to try and flirt with you. I can assure you that ain't going to happen. Hello, and welcome to Chatty Boy, episode number 2. And I've realised where I've put the sign today is in the way of the... Yep, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, so you're going to have to put it with that. Yes, this is episode 2 of the Chatty Boy podcast. A podcast that now should be up on SoundCloud. In fact, it is. Why am I saying it should? It is definitely up on SoundCloud right now. So the link for that is in the description below. So you can now listen to me instead of seeing me, which is a much preferred way of consuming the kind of person that I am in general, to be honest. I am working on getting the podcast onto iTunes and Stitcher and TuneIn, because apparently they are the 3 big players when it comes to podcasting. But there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through to get that shit in. A lot of hoops, and I'm trying my hardest. I'm hoping to get approved for those very soon. Now, today is November 1st, and today marks a very, very significant day in my life. Because today, I have decided that for the entire month of November, I, Daryl Groombridge, will not drink alcohol. I did want to do it last month. I wanted to do Sober October. You know, it rhymes and shit, and it's a good idea. I like it. It's very marketable, Sober October. But so October for me is a month that included 3 birthdays. And yeah, went out for a birthday the weekend just gone, and probably been the drunkest I've ever been in my life. Or close to. I think I was close to blackout drunk at one point. So I've decided that this month would be a better month for me to do it in. Purely because November for me is a dead month. There's not a lot of shit happening apart from our anniversary. Yeah, don't forget that. It's mine and Hannah's anniversary. Yeah, that one. It's not a dead month, honest. So yeah, no booze in November. It's not as catchy as Sober October, I grant you, but it's something I want to do. I think it will be a good thing for me because I'm not a heavy drinker. That's a lie. I am a heavy drinker, but I'm not an alcoholic, and I know every alcoholic says that. I don't drink every day. I drink more days than it is probably recommended that I do. I've been trying to cut back recently because I went through a period in the summer where it was mostly every day. I'd maybe have a day off, like a week. I'd maybe have a day off per week, maybe 2 days off, but between 4 and 5 days a week in the summer, festival time, is when I'll be drinking. That's whittled down a little bit now. It's probably like 3 or 4 days, but it's not getting to the point where it's a problem for me, but it's getting to the point where I can kind of feel the effects of it, in that when I do drink, I know the next day, not necessarily from a hangover, I just feel a little bit poisoned. But I'm not alcoholic in any way. It's not an issue. I'm not dependent on it. My body doesn't need it. I haven't drunk for 2 days already, and I'm fine. It's more of an addiction to that kind of release that you get from drinking, that kind of relief, and it's a relief that is temporary and comes with more costs for me than outweigh the positives. And I'm not a shitty drinker. I don't get drunk and then my eyes glaze over and I turn into a fucking raging lunatic. I just get more confident and more into myself, and then I get to the point where I'm a little bit slurry and a little bit friendly. But that's about it, really. But I thought, no, this month I'm going to do the 30 days, well, technically 31, because I didn't drink yesterday on the 31st, because I wanted to come into November completely sober. So yeah, it'll work out about 31 days sober, if I can do it. That's the challenge. The challenge starts today, day 1 of the challenge, and I'm doing well so far. It is now currently 12:52 p.m. and I have not had a beer, so it's not much of an accomplishment really, because I wouldn't normally drink. I also want to try and be a little bit more active this month as well. I don't want it to just be about not drinking, which will help a hell of a lot, I know. I'm going to weigh myself and shit and see how much weight I lose from not drinking, because I know for a fact that those kind of calories are absolutely dead calories through and through, and are just piling the pounds on me. Well, not piling the pounds on, but because I'm not putting weight on, I'm just holding it around my stomach. I can feel it around my midriff. And I know full well it's not from what I eat, because I eat pretty well. But yeah, apart from the not drinking, I also want to try and get a little bit more active. Because I have these phases. I had a phase of running not long ago. I also tried like kettlebell exercises a while back. Kettlebell exercises with a dumbbell, by the way, because I'm a cheapskate. I've also taught myself, well, not taught, you don't teach yourself, but I've also gone through some yoga self-taught yoga. Self-taught? I don't know. Can you be taught yoga? Self-prescribed yoga? Yeah, watching like videos on YouTube and reading in books and figuring out how to do yoga. Really, really like it. I like getting in those weird positions, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I want to try and do more of that this month as well. Try and reset my lifestyle and kind of reset my relationship with alcohol. So I'm not doing it just for the sake of doing it. And that when I do drink, which may be once or twice a week after this, I'm hoping like once a week maybe. I don't know. But when I do drink, I enjoy it more. I enjoy it for what it is. Rather than just using it as a way to relax and chill out at every available opportunity. Like I have before, in the past, gone for breakfast at the pub, admittedly. Gone for a breakfast at the pub and had a beer with it. I've done days before where the only thing I've drank is beer or some sort of alcohol. So I want to kind of cut back on that and, don't know, reassess my lifestyle. Try and, hopefully this might be the beginning of me actually looking after myself a little bit more. I've already started doing that with the food that I eat. I've got kind of obsessed lately, the past year or so, of cooking things from scratch, and that is really, it really does make a difference that when you cook food that you love from the raw ingredients. It's a nice way of learning how to cook first and learning how flavors work, and then the physical effect from doing it is quite surprising. I find myself feeling a hell of a lot more healthy for it and a lot more content with the kind of food that I eat. I'm not always wanting carb heavy stuff anymore. I actually can't handle like too many carbs, like say a pizza or something like that. Actually having fresher things and less calorific items to eat. I've learned a lot about what your body want, what you psychologically want, and what your body actually needs. Like, it's surprising how much you actually need to eat or you actually need to drink. And I want to get into that phase with alcohol. I know I don't need it at all, really, but I want to get to a point where I have a cleaner relationship with alcohol. Let's put it that way. A cleaner relationship. One where I'm not drinking 4 days of the week. In other news this week, moving on from my selfless, mindless rant, I started watching Stranger Things 2, the second season on Netflix of Stranger Things. Came out on the 27th, I believe. We started watching it Monday. I'm very, very impressed with it so far. Not from the story standpoint or anything like that, but okay, so before I watched the second season, I went through the entire first season again just to remind myself and catch myself up with what was going on in the universe of Stranger Things, what it all meant, because I kind of lost track of what was going on. I couldn't remember all that well what the hell it was, because it was over a year ago. A lot of things have happened since then. Anyway, I watched it all and then kind of jumped straight onto Stranger Things 2. And the one thing I noticed most about Stranger Things 2 is the vast improvement in the way that it is shot and the way that it is filmed and the cinematography of it all. Now, this may be because me being a student of photography and going through all that hell at university, learning composition and kind of falling in love with it. It kind of tuned me into recognizing that kind of skill, that kind of photographic skill in not just still imagery but moving imagery as well, in film, TV, that kind of stuff. And there is a definite improvement between Stranger Things the first season and the second season. I don't know what it is about it. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there just seems to be there's a better colour range for one. There's better colouring in this. Some of the shots in it are absolutely sublime. There's one bit where they're on a playground. It jumps to a shot on a playground. It's in the third or fourth episode. It jumps to a shot on a playground, and all of a sudden, you know those rocking horse things that the kids jump on? There's a close-up of that just coming at the camera, rocking back and forth. You can hear the spring and the kid going crazy on it. It kind of sets the tone for the moment that is about to come, the uneasy moment. And jumping straight from a kind of more subtle, less emotional scene into that by cutting to that horrible noise and that horrible face of that rocking horse thing on the spring coming at the camera. It jolts you, and that's the one thing that stuck in my mind with this. A lot of what Stranger Things is shot like is quite jolting. It is quite interesting. It suits the story that they're telling so far perfectly. A story which, by the way, is fucking incredible. I am really happy with what they've managed to do with Stranger Things 2, because the risk was with coming from Stranger Things the first season. The risk was kind of treading old ground, using the same kind of story over and over again. Obviously, the Upside Down is still a major part of this season, and the focus in some instances is still Will Byers, the kid who got who went missing in the first season. The focus is still him and his experiences. I'm trying to talk about this without spoiling it, by the way. But they've done it in a different way. They've managed to be skirt very close to a similar storyline, but make it just different enough to make it feel like a sequel, like an improvement, like a better version of the first one. And actually, on another note, in terms of the composition and the way it looks, this time the Upside Down, the kind of extra dimension of the world that we're in Stranger Things, it looks so much better than before. I don't know why. Maybe they managed to get a better budget for CGI and stuff, but this time it looks a lot more sinister, a lot more colourful. There's a bit that's in the trailer as well where Will Byers comes out of an arcade and it's all rotten and it's covered in what we're used to seeing in the Upside Down, but there are flashes of technology. There's lights coming through. There's colour. There's more recognisable elements of the Upside Down, which make it that bit more eerie because you kind of see what it's supposed to look like, but it's not quite right. And that's what I like about it. That's what I like. It's kind of the in-between. It's in-between things. It's like in-between dimensions or whatever. I don't know. But I'm on episode 5 right now. So I've got 4 left. I've got 5 or 4 episodes left. I'm really fucking enjoying it. The soundtrack, again, is amazing. All the actors in it as well. The kids are amazing. I think the actress who plays Elle is unbelievably good for her age. Dustin is slowly beginning to become one of my favourite TV characters ever. And as for the wealth of talent that they've managed to get for such a young age group, I am extremely impressed. Extremely impressed. Very happy with what Stranger Things is doing. So I recommend that you go and watch Stranger Things 2, or go back and watch 1 and 2 if you haven't already seen it. And I think I'm going to leave it there. That's it for the Chatty Boy Podcast, episode number 2. So, if you like this podcast, you like this episode, you like where I'm going with this, have you got any ideas? Come and let me know in the comments on the YouTube video or over on Twitter at DarylDoes. I don't know if you can put comments on SoundCloud. I think you can. Yeah, you can put comments on SoundCloud, so go do that if you want to. Hopefully, sooner rather than later, it will be on iTunes for you to download so you can listen to it rather than look at me. I would highly recommend that option. And until next time, my friends, stay sober, because I have to. Because that was the decision I made. That was a fucking great one. Smart move there. Yep. Guess what I'm doing today as well? Going out for a meal. Where? Birmingham. The cocktail capital of the UK. Day 1, and I'm surrounding myself with the thing that I'm going to want.